This video is going to give you a review of shading. The first one will be blending. This should be review from previous art classes that you've had. We will add to it hatch, crosshatch, and stippling. You're going to want to find this value finder, and then I will warn you the numbers on the value finder are reversed from what we have, and then they also have 10 values where we break it down into 9. Basically, if you kind of mentally combine this 5 and 6 into the same middle value, then all of the rest of these are true. So starting with the 5, you're going to take your ebony pencil, having it nice and sharpened, and this is the basic value that comes straight out of the pencil with no pressure. And something that's kind of nice, you'll notice I'm using my viewfinder as a straight edge to see, like I don't have to shade cleanly, I just have to block what I'm doing. So you fill in the whole area. I strongly encourage you to twist your paper and then shade it from different directions. You're gonna fill in the whole box completely, spinning your paper as you go. And once it's all filled in, you'll notice that that doesn't look very clean, which doesn't matter. That is why we have the blending stump. If your blending stump is dirty, you just get out a paper towel and you twist it around in the paper towel until it twists out and becomes clean. So that's looking pretty good. Then, working in little circles, you are filling this in so that you don't see or try to eliminate all of those little lines. If you still see lines, or if you shaded too dark, so when you bring this over, if you realize you really got to the 4 value on here rather than shooting for the light gray, you can take your kneadable eraser and don't actually erase. Instead, take your kneadable eraser. I'm just going to do it to half so you can see how it works. If you push it into the space and then you pull off, it takes off about 1 value grade worth. So if that was originally here, it will take it to the next level, which is pretty handy. And then how you clean these, if you've forgotten, is if you just stretch and fold. I'm not sure where this stuff goes, but then it becomes like clean, and I don't know why that's true. It's magic. Okay, so to get these lower values, which it might make more sense to go cross these off and switch out your numbers. This is a 7, 8, and this is a 10. Okay, so this is where you flip your pencil over. So you're holding it from this direction, and then we're gonna start with that 6. So we're trying to get, or really a 7 maybe even, we're trying to get a really light value. So we're putting very little media down, very, very little media. And then most of the work is done with our blending stump. And again, if we get too dark or if we feel like it needs to be blended more, you can use this guy. You can actually turn this into almost like a blending stump on its own. And this can alleviate lines and kind of get you that nice looking value. So you go ahead and finish, and you should be working on yours while I'm talking. Oh, that was just a mistake. So you see I'm putting the value down pretty rough, and then I kind of blend it around. I want it to be perfectly within my space. But then when I'm done, you're not gonna know that that was rough. I'm working within my space. I want it to be a nice, clean, consistent value, and it should feel like a true, now I'm cheating the system kind of. What I've done is this is my like 5 or my 6. This right here where I took off the media just to show you how to do that kind of turned in really to this box. which makes this box more along here. But it's just showing you the process. You're gonna keep doing this so that every single one of these is a step down. In the classroom, there'll be an example up on the board. So if you wanna see a complete version, you can look at it that way. For the purpose of the video, I'm gonna keep it short. You'll wanna pause this and go ahead and finish out that value section. Okay, you now have this value section done. You're gonna go up on the scale. So again, it might be helpful if you relabel this. This is a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. So think in reverse. So on this one, you're holding your pencil regular. You don't have to do a lot of work with this guy, which is kind of nice. You just stay in one spot until the value looks the same. If you want to use that trick of using the card as your edge, you're just trying to have one consistent jump up. And then again, if you realize that you went too dark, stick this guy on there so he covers the whole thing, and you can pull off one level. Once you have this finished all the way across, again, there's that example. So if you need to go look, I mean, this one is gonna be a pure black. And along as you go, every value should match. So because I did that, see, this is too light, so I'd have to refill this back in. Every one of these needs to match through the finder. Once you have the blending section done, you're going to go on to the hatching section. So pause this video until you're able to catch up. All right, for hatching, we are gonna switch off of the pencil and we are gonna go to the artist pen. Again, you might wanna renumber this. So this is your 10, 9, 8, 7. This is kind of your 5/6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, hatch is just going to be lines. So I'm gonna start at the 1. I'm working only with line. And I am slowly, oops, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. I just did cross hatching. Okay, you are slowly adding and creating lines that all go in one direction. Do not cross them, but don't try and make them perfect with a ruler. Okay, it's all in one direction. So if I wanted to do this other side so I had a nice clean line, I'm gonna flip it this way and I'm gonna pull from this direction. It's gonna feel very rough, but when I look through my viewfinder, if you squint at it and probably through what you're seeing on the screen, even though there are white spaces, that when you squint, you can see your eye blends it all together. That has the value of black. So then you go to the next one, and this time you do the same thing, only keep that value thing close. You are going to just do less lines. So see, I might stop right about there to create that 2 value. And then you just keep going all the way across. Your 1 obviously would have no hatch lines in it at all. And by your 2, you know, you may have moved your hand way up off of that artist pen so that when you make a line, you know, it's very, very faint. You still make quite a few lines, but you're just barely putting. And you'll learn where you can see I'm kind of testing out my pen. Every pen is different. So you notice I kind of started from the back and moved my way up until I figured out where I had to be to make a value. Okay, but see, that's one step up. And if I were to squint my lines or squint my eyes, that gets me to that second value. Once you finish your hatch section, you now move on to cross hatching. Okay, so now you have finished 2 value scales on cross hatching, very similar to hatching, only this time you crisscross. You can go in any direction you want. So you start your lines going this direction, and then you can go from the other direction, and you can do whatever you want. Notice I'm doing small chunks. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm doing small chunks at a time. I'm getting a nice, clean, strong, like this is creating an edge, even though I don't, don't do this. That's no, right? And then as I want to make my section bigger, I'm just moving off into the other spaces. So I can slowly kind of make this space bigger as I work, changing how I work. And again, I stay in the same spot until when I squint, so I'm not there yet, but I'm getting close. Until I squint, I reach that value, and I just work myself all the way across. Once you finish hatch, you're gonna move on to stippling. Okay, so you've now completed 3 of the value scales. You're now on to stippling. Go ahead and kind of mentally, we're gonna shrink this way, way, way down. So we already have to change this number order anyway. I want you to take all these boxes and divide them in half again. So if you have to do this much stippling, you'll grow crazy pants. So, and then just renumber. This is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, stippling is dots. And dots are not like, wahoom, wahoom. It's just little teeny dots, right? So starting at this 1, make sure you can see what I'm doing. You just kind of start where you are. Make dots, talk to a friend, don't pay attention to your paper, you will go insane. Once you've reached, and this is the hard part, you have to do that until you reach that dark value. So now I'm not, oh, actually I'm kind of close. I would say I'm more at a 2, so I gotta really put down much, much more value. These last 3 boxes will take you all the time that the first 7 took you. Once you finish stippling, you're gonna flip over your paper and you would go to application. And that video will be on a second video. So you'll wanna just stop this, and then there'll be a second video that tells you how to apply it to some forms.